Hey everyone, I'm Will with EVOQ.
And I'm Landry. We're coaches, and we're gonna walk you through each stage of Gila and provide you with course details, race breakdown, tactics, and even some training sessions that will help get you ready for tour of the Gila.
Stay tuned. Hope you enjoy. Okay, this is stage two of the amateur race, stage three of the UCI race. It is a Tyrone time trial. Simple out and back on what is essentially a highway. Not so simple after all, because there is a big lump at the beginning, easy to go too hard out on, and then some lumps in the middle, coming back down at the end. Hey everyone, Will here with a quick note. The time trial for amateurs is no time trial bike allowed. We will have an update whether or not, probably in the description, whether or not you're allowed to use aero bars, but for now, just assume you're on a road bike. I've put a picture of me time trialing with a road bike at Tucson Bicycle Classic here. Main things you got to focus on are getting into a comfortable position that you can sustain for the entire 30 to 35 minutes. So keep that in mind. It is a road bike time trial. Landry, how would you pace this time trial? What would be your approach?
Um, this is definitely probably the trickiest, one of the trickiest time trials I've ever raced. It's a really fun course, but you definitely have to make sure that you have a pacing plan going into it. This is not your standard flat 40K TT. So uh, the best way that I've been able to pace it is you've got this 15-minute ish climb right out of the gate, and it's a pretty long time trial, so you have to be really careful to not go out too hard on this. So you probably want to keep it right around your FTP up this first climb. Once you get towards the top, I would say there's going to be some steeper sections. It kind of gets a little bit steeper towards the top. Once you're towards the top, you might push it a little bit more because you know that you're going to get some recovery on the descent. So maybe just kind of gas it a little bit more and then use that first descent for recovery. You got a super fast descent. So get as aero as you can. If you're comfortable sitting on the top tube, since it's not a UCI race, I think you're allowed to do that. So if you're not, then just get as aero as you can and try to save energy going down that. Make sure that you get up to speed, but if the speeds are fast, don't waste any extra energy on that. Try to bring your heart rate down. And then, yeah, you're going to get to these rollers in the middle. And this is kind of what I like to call like over unders. So you're going to have these short little risers that'll take a minute or two. And then you'll have some descents and some risers and some descents. And the best way to pace this is to go harder on the climbs and easier on the descents. So you're going to gain most of your time on the slowest section of the course. So um, go go over your FTP on the climbs and then recover a little bit on the descents, but you need to make sure that on those descents you keep the power down because it's not fast enough to where you're spinning out. And so if you just stop pedaling at the top, you're going to lose time there. So you'd probably bring it down to maybe like a tempo pace on those downhills. And I think a great session to prepare for this is doing like over unders on your TT bike. Because I found when I did this time trial that it was hard to just get myself to keep the power down on those downhill sections. So just being like really proficient at going hard and recovering is going to be really helpful for that section. And then you got that last climb towards the end. And yeah, tell me about your experience on that part, Will.
This climb always hurts. So this is actually my power file from last year. You can see throughout this whole thing, I went super easy on that downhill and then just kind of like flat paced. I did those little, yeah, maintaining momentum over there. But once you get to this climb, man, you're pretty tacked out. Like my heart rate here, that's the top end of my threshold pretty much, and then you have to give it as much as you possibly can. Like you've got this whole area afterwards. If you can pedal on that area afterwards, you've got a big gear. Like I had a 58 tooth, so I was barely pedaling on the way home. But most people aren't going to have a 58 too. So you're going to have to pour out plenty of power on that, knowing that like you're downhill for the end here. So you can see my power average for this guy was like 358, which for 5 minutes that still hurt me pretty good. So you do really have to pour out some power on that little climb, and it feels steep. It feels steep.
Hmm. Yeah, you definitely you have to make sure that you save something for that last climb because you could, if you blow up, you could lose a lot of time, but also you could gain a lot of time as well. So you need to, I would say, you have to make sure that you are not destroyed by the time you get to the bottom of the climb. You want to be destroyed at the top. But if you are already, if you're on those last couple rollers and you're already feeling maxed out, I would almost recommend like easing up just a little bit just so that you can recover for that last climb. Otherwise, you might just completely blow up.
Yeah, absolutely. That climb you can lose more time on than those rollers you can gain it on. And that turnaround, after that, that climb comes up a lot faster than you would think it does. So
Mm.
make sure, especially after that turnaround, you're just kind of like relaxing a little more than you think you should, because that climb is intense. Let's go to the little descent afterwards. This is pretty much just where you pedal if you can.
Yeah.
It's it's like kind of a false flat downhill, but it's so fast. Let's see, what was my speed here? 41 miles an hour for 7 minutes. Like you've got to get a big gear to be able to push on that. I was pedaling on it, so I had like the ability to do 300 watts, but I passed like three guys just on that
Mm.
descent part that were like barely able to stay on top of the gear. And likelihood is most people in the amateur class, like they're not going to have that big chain ring because it sucks for the rest of the course. So yeah, really you just got to pedal where you can on this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first year I did this race, I was on junior gears, so it was like it was basically impossible to pedal anyways, but I mean, since the speeds are so fast, like you're gonna be less likely to lose time on this section. But essentially, it's just pedal whenever you start to feel yourself slow down a little bit. Try to pedal and just go as hard as you can because I mean, at that point, the race is almost over. So
Yep. Cool. That is stage two, the Tyrone Time Trial. Hope you enjoyed that. If you're interested in more info from us, get in touch with us. Landry's going to tell you how to do that.
just head over to our website, evoke.bike. That's EVOQ.bike. And we have tons of content there, loads of blog content. If you want to get in touch with us, my email is Landry at Evoke Bike and Will is Will at Evoke Bike. We've also got YouTube, podcast, anything that you need to help get you faster. So go on and check that out.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.